The Trump administration has unveiled a new executive order outlining what it calls an America First arms transfer strategy. The plan aims to prioritize U.S. economic interests by encouraging foreign arms purchases that help expand American defense production and strengthen the domestic industrial base. For more on that, let's bring in CBS News national security contributor Sam Vinograd. So, Sam, how does strengthening the U.S. defense industrial base translate into actual national security advantages? It almost sounds like something out of World War II, right, where we're going to start, building more tanks and planes because we are preparing or in the midst of a war, but we're not there yet. So how does that work in 2026?
Well, Vlad, economic security is certainly national security, and strengthening the defense industrial base is not just about the economy. It's about ensuring that the U.S. military has the resiliency, has the actual material, has the technology that it needs to be prepared to project military power overseas. So yes, it's about the economy, but it's also about the ability to be resilient and to be prepared to project military power when needed. But I think it's important that we zoom out for a second on this executive order and just understand that it fundamentally changes how the Department of War, how the Department of Defense is prioritizing arms sales and transfers instead of relying on what has historically, for the most part, been a first-come, first-come basis. This executive order is now saying that the Department of War is going to prioritize sales and transfers to countries that prioritize investing in their own self-defense. That tracks with the administration's focus on getting, for example, European allies to contribute more to defense spending, to countries that play a critical role or geography in U.S. plans and operations. That's consistent with the Trump administration's national security strategy and national defense strategy, and who contribute to U.S. economic security. There are also parts of the executive order that look at streamlining the requirements for end-use monitoring and transfers to other parties. I think that last part will come under scrutiny, but more broadly, Vlad, this is not just about supercharging the defense industrial base. This is about reshaping how the United States does arms sales and transfers more broadly.
So, Sam, one of the priorities for this administration last year was getting Europe to take on more of its share of defense spending for NATO. How will that impact now this new arms selling campaign?
Well, I imagine this is going to be one of many hot topics at the Munich Security Conference, which is kicking off. But certainly successive administrations and the Trump administration have pushed the Europeans to do more to invest in their own security. Trump has called for 5% spending by NATO allies on defense. They have agreed to some combination of that gets them at 3% now, and then an additional percentage by 2035. But while they do that, the question is, where are they spending their money? Is it on U.S. defense companies that are going to supply them with certain products and platforms, or are they going to be sourcing items from European defense companies and shifting away from buying things from America and supporting the U.S. defense industrial base?
Sam, isn't there part of, U.S. defense technology and design that's proprietary with a reason? We don't want other people to have our weapons because we don't want them to know how they work, even if they are allies?
Well, certainly the U.S. has certain technologies and assets that only the U.S. has, which is why certain allies only buy those items from the U.S. They just don't have those capabilities in their own countries. But there are very intense processes that are undertaken when technologies and products are sold to other countries, which is one of the things ultimately that the Trump administration is trying to speed up, that scrutiny and those oversight processes.
All right, Sam Vinograd, always great to have you, my friend. Thank you.